So unboxing, gambusing, chouses, which if you don't know what those are the padded pants, basically gambusing for your legs. A seatbelt, which if you don't know what that is, holds up your cuisses. If you don't know what those are the metal armor pieces that go to your thigh and typically attached to your knees. And also some gauntlets. So all this is from Medieval Extreme. It arrived today in the middle of a snowstorm, 2 days earlier than the recommended 16 to 21 day arrival time from Ukraine. So let's open her up, see what we got, see what it looks like. I'm going to start with the fun part of the gauntlets because that's the most exciting actual armor. I was worried it might be wet because it did sit on the porch for a while in the snow. I don't think it is. The box is dry on the inside, so good news. Everything's dry. And this got some frost on it here. It's cold outside. It was 0 degrees, -20 at least wind chill here all day. So I ordered these mid to beginning of October for, I think it was October 10th. Somewhere around there I ordered the gambeson, the chouses, and the seatbelt. And then I ordered gauntlets and I ordered a helmet later on in the month, like the 27th, somewhere in there. And they apparently had the gauntlets done because they clearly shipped them with my soft gambeson and everything. They fit really well. They're freezing cold, which sucks to put my hand in. Also sucks, I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera too well, there is, I don't know, it kind of ugly pattern on it. It's from the oil just being pretty much frozen. It got so cold. I can wipe it away pretty easy there. I don't know if that shows up or not on the camera. These are their basic Buhurt mittens. I went back and forth on gauntlets for quite a while. I remember talking to one of my buddies about, hey, what did you obsess over the most? I obsessed over, beyond the helmet, everyone loves the helmet. The helmet's the visual aspect of your gear. It's what everyone sees, what everyone thinks about. When they see a knight, they think of the helmet and the detail of the helmet. They don't really think too much of, oh, what's the gauntlet look like? Oh, this guy had a cool shoulder piece. Like, the helmet is the first thing a normal person's gonna think about. The next thing that I obsessed over was probably these gauntlets for a couple reasons. Gauntlets are going to take the most damage right there with your helmet. They're holding your weapon, you're going to get smacked. It's out front, it's in right there ready to get hit. So I wanted something very protective. I wanted something that was maneuverable enough. The thumbs I kind of wish moved a little more. They might move a little better once they're broken in. Moving that leather in a bit actually kind of helps it move some on this thumb. I think they have to get broken in because they do have the range to move further, but there is leather here on the inside that I think is catching and kind of limiting that range of movement a little bit. But the big thing was protection. So these are super hefty, super solid. They large pieces across the knuckles and 2 large pieces here in the front. One issue that some will have a kind of armadillo style, which they don't have these large knuckled pieces. These knuckle pieces being more of a triangle shape. If you're a fan of architecture, you know, like arches and triangles, they're way stronger than doing a square or a flat piece. And so them being that kind of arched triangle shape makes them much sturdier to a direct hit. So the armadillo ones is what I've heard people call them, that are just a bunch of smaller plates. They're just a normal flat kind of shape, but there'd be like 7 to 9 of them. They're not going to dissipate as much as these large, big, heavy plates on your knuckles. The other thing on these was thumb was really important to me. You'll notice the thumb comes around and covers the front of my thumb. So not only am I protected along the sides, it overlaps quite a bit with the piece here, but it also comes around and covers the base of my thumb, which is something very important. There are lots that don't have this basically section of metal, and you could get an axe down your shaft of your haft of your weapon, and it could smack you right there in the tip of your thumb. And I would hate to break a thumb or have to quit fighting simply because I didn't have a little 1 square inch piece of steel on a gauntlet. You might be kind of hard to see. There are leather strappings here that are riveted, these little smaller rivets, to the metal, and then those are stitched to this interior glove with a really strong kind of canvas hem on it. And then the fingers down here, this is a mitten. This mitten has a big piece of leather here that is sewn across a full leather strap right there. And then again, they're attached the same way with the leather strapping and riveting on the other side. And then the thumb has a big piece of leather. Again, if it slides down and it catches kind of the meat of your thumb here, you're going to be glad that that is there. A little surprised these rivets are as big and bulky as they are, but hopefully they don't catch or break, and they're quite loose, which is, I mean, necessary for you to move your hand around, keep it nice and articulated. It's not much effort at all to actually move it. They're pretty easy to bring them all the way down. The only real resistance is like in the glove and the leather portion itself. I've noticed a lot of people will have straps that run across their hand. I think the back of the glove being attached directly to these leather pieces, I'm assuming these leather pieces go all around the back. I can't really tell without taking it completely apart here. Might be able to get my fingers under here and so they don't. They come up to basically the top of where this angle starts. And it looks like they're riveted through or under these bigger rivets here. I'm guessing they're through these 2 rivets and through that rivet. So through these 2, through that rivet. And then you can see the 2 small rivets for this portion. Then your thumb has some rivets here as well. But yeah, the only real resistance is kind of the inner glove itself. The metal's not, I mean, it moves really easy. I mean, my hand's in there resisting it too, and I'm really easily able just to bend and pull it down. One other thing on these is kind of the shape and length of the wrist here. So some gauntlets will have a large long wrist for a little more coverage and protection, and they may not be as flared out as this. Reason being is it's just a little more protective, but you want some that are fairly flared if you're doing things like long sword and duels where you need that movement and articulation of the wrist to really get any sort of angle possible. So with the glove on, it might be kind of hard to demonstrate, but I'm about that angle, and I can go a little further here, not much. Going back, I'm about like that. And I mean, I can move my hand another, decent amount of angle there, but it's not terrible. Overall, I got some pretty decent maneuverability. I can go up about as far as I can go. There's a little bit of gap here. Going down, I could definitely go down this way quite a bit further than this is allowing me to. I'm kind of there, and I can go a good quite a few degrees as well. But all in all, the big thing I wanted with most of my kit was defense, and this provides me that. Good, decent maneuverability, good movement of the hands. Maybe see what some of my teammates think on them when they see the video or see them in person, hopefully in one of our practices here soon. Hopefully the weather doesn't persist and we can do a practice. I'm happy with them. I'm going to go grab my buckler and my falchion, hold on to them, let you see them with them on the buckler, kind of how they work there, and I'll be right back. So I'm back with my buckler. You might notice a few scratches and a dent actually in it there now from messing around with the guys at practice. It did get hit quite a few times. I thought maybe the strap might be a little too long when I first got this, and if you can see it on the camera too well, but I'm actually only in the second hole, so it was necessary. I was also had a little concern that with the flare of the gauntlet that the buckler might tip down too much, but the flare is actually, I'm gonna punch, it's pretty much, I think, right where I would want it. It's slightly down angled, but not much. I mean, it stays pretty flat where I've got it. It's not moving around. I've got a nice solid grip. My knuckle is up against the back of it, and then the very edge of my gauntlet is also on and touching the buckler as well. I mean, I'm pretty well closed off. My gloves actually only come to about here. My hands aren't super big, and I'm assuming they make all of this kind of the same roughly size, and then they make the glove a little more custom, because like that's all just metal, which is a little disappointing to me. But I mean, the glove can be kind of pushed up as I put them on, but naturally my fingers are back here. But not a big deal. Works out, holds on great. Good angle. I like that. It feels heavy as hell now though, with the gauntlet and then the shield. And I've been practicing holding the shield, like just running on the treadmill, throwing punches while I run and doing pel work. And this adds a little bit of weight, a little bit of different feel to it for sure. So I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna go practice in the pel with these gauntlets. So there is some concern with rules on like a D guard and how far away it is from hook. Now these knuckles are almost touching the hook. The concern is with it being too far away. I clearly do not have that concern because the way this kind of V's out in the shape. If it slides out of my hand, It is, you know, hitting the metal on the side of my gauntlet. I've got a good overlap of the thumb and my finger, so even if it some reason got twisted around on me in a grapple or something, it feels pretty good with it in the hand. I'll have to go swing on the Pel to really know what it's going to kind of feel like. I feel like these are much heftier gauntlets than what a couple of my teammates had, but I wanted protection. It's what I wanted. It's what I bought. So it definitely feels heavy. holding the sword's got some weight and heft. Holding it with the gauntlet just adds that much more. Get back to you guys once I've swung on the Pel, once I've used them a bit, and let you know what I think.